Hello, friends and family. Well, I don't know if saying friends and family is the best intro. I kind of just want to be like, "What's up, bitches?" Sorry, I don't mean to be offensive. If anybody takes it offensive, I'm so sorry. But I just want to shake it up sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, well, you say it with a lot of love, so it's not you mean it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're listening with your children, I am so sorry. But
yeah,
our kids hear me cuss all the time, so it doesn't matter.
it's natural, I guess.
Yeah. They don't care.
Nah.
Okay, well, today we're gonna be I took some notes only because today is February 1st, and the episode where we had a conversation with the Voice Party aired today.
Yeah.
And I've been dissecting I just a little background about that. It just all happened so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I like to prepare for things. So the way that it happened was this one random day, Mario just told me hey, would you be okay with doing a episode with Beefster? Yeah, episode of a podcast with being on a podcast. And I was like, I don't know. Let me think about it.
Yeah.
So I think I came back to you the next day, and I was like, okay, so what exactly are we doing, or when exactly would we be doing this? And I don't know if you got your information mixed up, but you told me in February.
Yeah.
I remember you saying in February that we would be meeting with them in February. So I was like, oh, okay, that gives me some time to mentally prepare myself, and try to I don't know, anticipate what kind of questions we would be asked.
Yeah.
So that I can, answer and, not I don't know, fumble around my words or whatever. I wanted to be prepared.
Yeah. Because you're that type of person, that needs to be, organized and prepared with.
But we talked before about how I'm not organized. But when it comes to my speaking, if I have to say something, I need to, be prepared to speak my mind, I guess.
You need to know what, not necessarily what you're going to say, but you need to know.
I need to anticipate what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, because with the conversation that we had, it was fun. We had a lot of fun.
I was very nervous.
Yeah, you were.
I was shaking even during the conversation. I feel like I was shaking.
Yeah,
maybe you can't notice, but inside I was shaking.
Yeah. So I mean, we had fun. Regardless, we did have fun, but we also felt like God. So we could have said a lot more. And kind of
But you know what happened? It was you told me, again, going back to, sorry, but you told me that it would be in February. And then literally 2 days after you told me if I was okay with it and I agreed to it, you were like, oh, how about this Saturday? And I was like, wait a minute, I haven't even prepared.
Yeah.
I don't have any material. No, yeah. But not only that, it's I think after we were done having the conversation with the guys at the Voice Party, I told Beefster, I know him as Beefster. I have a hard time now because I hear you calling him JD.
Yeah.
And this whole time since high school, I've known him as Beefster.
Yeah,
so when we talk about him or whatever, we don't talk about him, but when we're having a conversation and he comes up or whatever, I call him Beefster.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that name came from, but that's how I know him, and that's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah. If you're hearing this, Beefster, let us know where it came from. But just recently, I started calling him JD because, I've seen, he goes by JD now. So, yeah, I mean, but that's how we both know him.
I think he has a couple Instagrams, and on one of them, he
JD Arandia.
Yeah, there's that one, and then there's Beefster Eats or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it does. No. Oh, yeah.
No? Yeah?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, with the whole conversation, we kind of we went home. We were happy about it. It was fun. It was, it was fun talking about our experience, but we did leave with like, hey, we could have said more, we could have elaborated more, but that's kind of
there were some areas where I kind of felt like I could have said it differently.
Yeah.
Where we even going back today and like listening to it, I was like, maybe we didn't really answer the question properly. Like, I don't know. I beat myself up for the smallest things.
Yeah. So it kind of with that, we kind of like, thought about making our own because, there was a lot of things that we could, share or, express that might be of value, to some.
Yeah.
And I mean,
like right after that, I think we had, I jokingly said it to you, but then there was like some truth behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, there's a lot more that we could say, we could express about our relationship or just give our insight. There was just a lot of unsaid things, like not I don't know, not that there was anything wrong with what we said or whatever, but we could have elaborated in certain parts. We could have talked about it in depth. You know?
Get more detail. So
I also didn't want to like get into like a touchy subject because I'm very emotional.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't want to get into a touchy subject and like maybe hit an emotion and like be all sensitive or whatever.
Because it's happened so far here.
Cry baby. I mean, I've cried. I mean, I cry.
Yeah, because I mean, certain things, certain experiences that we've gone through are emotional. So it's obvious that you look back at that and, you get emotional. So, I mean, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was I mean, prior to going on the, to being asked to go on as like speaking in their podcast, I was truthful with the Beefster and I told them I hadn't really heard any of the podcasts, so when you told me about it, I started listening and, I really enjoy it. And there's been 2 episodes, like two guests that have really like stuck with me. One of them was this girl, her name is Danny California. I was touched by her story and like I think she was sharing her story to them and she was telling them that she had been a victim of human trafficking. And I just wanted to hug her. Like I think I cried during that, like I teared up a little, like I just wanted to hug her, like I thought she was so brave. And what?
I know what you're saying.
And then there was another one. There was I should have looked into it before, but there was this comedian guy. His name is Mario. Mario, he worked at a deli or a butcher shop or something like that. But he also did comedy. And what kind of intrigued me about him was that he just like his whole experience and his whole life. It's just like the way he spoke about it. It was just so humbling.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So while doing my research and like, trying to see, I just wanted to see what kind of environment we would be speaking in, like kind of like what,
get a feel on how it would work, right?
How they like to do things, and that's why I started listening to it, and then I liked it. Yeah,
no, I know. Same here. Like with me, I started listening to their podcast a while ago. I remember he told me about it, and then I started like slowly, gradually, like listening to it. I think when I started listening to it, I was like maybe they already had posted maybe about 10 or 12 no, 10, that's a lot. Probably like around 10 podcast episodes, sorry. And I started like listening one by one. So I kind of had a feeling on how I was going to go. and how there is going to play. The one thing I didn't know was like, of course the questions, or once what we were actually in there, how kind of like it was nerve wracking, like, oh yeah. You kind of get it put in a spot where you're thinking about the question, you're trying to answer it, but your head is like kind of spinning around.
Yeah.
And you can't like really say like, oh yeah, this is, exactly what your question is. This is my answer to that. And I felt, I know you did as well, but that we weren't necessarily answering the question right away. We were kind of going around a little bit, and then we would answer it, in some questions. And I think that's just the part where we weren't comfortable on the mic. I was familiar with the way they work because I have been listening for them. But for a while.
It's different being on the listening end than exactly. being on the you're the one being interviewed and you're the one answering the questions, and it's just like how do you it's different.
Yeah, I agree. So so that's kind of where I was standing with technically I was prepared, but not with the questions and being in front of the mic. Even though it was just everybody, and the good thing about it is that, everybody, in the voice party were, really like chill and very open, so they didn't make things uncomfortable. They didn't make, it was like, they made it very easy for us to kind of come out a little bit, from our shell, from our insecurity with, talking on the mic. So it kind of helped, that they were pretty much like, they were cool. They were like, they made it easy for us.
Yeah, I mean, that was just our experience. I'm sure everybody has like a super cool time.
Yeah.
And one of the things, as you were just saying that, something came to my mind. I lost it. And that happens all the time.
Yeah. I'm used to it now.
Can you repeat what you were saying?
When was it in particular?
Just repeat it.
From where? From the beginning?
No.
Hello, friends. From there?
No, but I hella lost it. Oh, when you were saying, I found it. You were saying something about how being prepared, right?
Yeah.
So I remember right before they turned on the equipment,
mm-hmm.
Beefster asked us, "Is there any questions that you guys are not comfortable with, or something like that?"
Mm-hmm.
And then everything went on.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like everything just went on. Like I didn't know how to answer that question. Like, what are you gonna ask us? Are you like the first thing that came to mind? I was like, are you gonna ask us about our sex life?
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe it felt like that because I felt the opposite. I felt like he asked us. We're like, I looked at you like, no, I think we're pretty much open book, and then like. Maybe a minute later.
But inside I was dying.
Yeah, but inside I think you felt like it was just a second. Like, anything you don't want to talk about? Okay, we're recording. No,
that's how it felt like to me. Maybe it didn't happen that way, but that's kind of how it felt like to me. And I was a nervous wreck. Like, I don't even know how I even opened my mouth. Like, how I even words came out. What? That happened? So along with that, like I said, I was just kind of going over it, and I felt like there was some valuable things on there that we could kind of elaborate on, or that we could use to like have our conversations here.
Mm-hmm.
So I started listening to it, and I was just took some notes.
Yeah.
So I have my laptop with me, and it's like a couple of pages. It's a couple of pages. So one of the things that came up was how we started talking.
Yeah.
And we shared how it was a mutual friend who had shared my number with you. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I remember when I first saw you, and you caught my eye. We had classes, and we had a lot of mutual friends.
Because I got it like that.
Yeah, but yeah, we had mutual friends, and one of those mutual friends was Edwin. Rest in peace, Edwin. But we had a lot of
Edwin from middle school.
Yeah, and I knew him from when we were kids. We used to play in the same soccer team when we were 9.
I knew Edwin from middle school, and I told you before we briefly
dated.
We're a little thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So me and Edwin had a lot of classes together. From freshman to like senior year, we had a lot of classes together. So we had like a very close friendship, to a certain extent. And one day, you guys were talking, and I was like, I already had like, my eye on you. Like I already had, you already had caught my eye, and I asked him about you, like, hey, so what's up with her? Like, she got a boyfriend, and he was like, no, actually, I think she just broke up with her last boyfriend. I was like, oh, all right, can I get her number? And then I said it like in a way like I didn't think he was actually gonna do it. Like I said it playfully, but he actually gave it to me. Like, oh shit, all right, cool. And he's like, yeah, just hit her up, and I did. So it kind of happened.
He just so freely gave out my number.
Yeah, and I remember.
I think I talked to you. I asked you about this before, and I was just like, he literally just like went after you told me the truth and why you had texted me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he really just gave out my number like that.
Yeah.
Like how? Why?
I got it
He
like
didn't
that.
even ask me.
But yeah, so yeah, for real, you didn't though.
No.
And well, I mean, yeah. So I texted you on the homework that I already had finished. I really didn't have anything to talk about, but I think that was like my icebreaker right there. Like, hey, so what was the homework? You told me, oh, is this? It wasn't a homework; it was an assignment, and it's an assignment that was due at the end of the week. Me back then, I was very smart, and I was already done with the assignment.
You're still smart.
Yeah, but I'm not in school anymore. But yeah, so I was done with the assignment, and I just needed that excuse to open up the conversation. Like, hey, this is Mario. This is my number. Now that I have your number, and now you have my number. Like, well, let's keep in touch. And I remember
Did you say that?
No, but in my head, it was like,
that
like,
sounds so smooth.
I know, right? Well, I mean, in my head, that's
my number. Let's keep in touch.
Shit, spitting game. But yeah, so that's kind of was the mentality is like, now we have each other's number. And I think I gradually like asked you a question here to, like here and there.
That just brings me to like when we were like really talking. I remember I used to look forward to like your text messages. And I told you this before. I used to look forward. Like I used to check my phone, and I used to not want to be like the one to text you first. But sometimes I just couldn't help it.
Yeah.
And I would text you and be like, so like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. And we talked about this before, but I don't know if you remember, but kind of adding to what you were saying is like, and I would also didn't want to smother you with like, hey, he's just bugging me. He's just texting me. So there would be days where like
we'd go days without talking to each other.
We didn't actually.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, there was like not days as in like maybe a day,
maybe half a day
or two, maybe max, but not like 3, 4,
That's
5.
Still days.
Yeah. But I remember like
you didn't miss me.
I'm talking to you too. You have my phone number.
I did. I just told you that I would be
after 2 days.
I can't be the first one to text him. I gotta.
I was the one always texting first, but that's what I'm saying is like
I did it too. I remember you told me how when the rare few times that I did text you first, you would get like really excited.
Yeah, and that's the reason like my reasoning to not texting you like super early in the day or like texting you like consistently was so you wouldn't like feel like, oh, he's just bugging, right? Kind of also wanted you to have like a little time to kind of like breathe from me. And it would be nice where I would like, okay, today's one of those days I'm gonna give her.
So considerate of you.
Always. But I was trying to give you a few days where I would try to give you that day. You would text me, so like, oh, so she doesn't want that time off. So hey, okay.
No, and cringy.
Yeah, it felt nice. Honestly, because I could feel that you were digging the conversations that we were having. It was a friendship, so I felt like you enjoyed the friendship that I was giving you. And of course, I enjoyed the friendship that you were giving me. So yeah, so it kind of was, a lot of texting because of course, we were school, we were in class, calling we would like do after school, even sometimes before school we would kind of talk on the phone, but it was mostly like texting.
I think I remember like a couple of times during school hours where like I'd have to go. I remember this specific time where I had to go retake a test. I may have missed it or something. I had to go retake one of my geometry tests.
Yeah.
And I went to my class. It took me like 10 minutes. It was like super fast. But you waited for me outside.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. What was the teacher?
We were Miss Sahuna.
Yeah. This who? It was after school, right?
No, it was during lunch.
No. Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
it was
Yep.
during lunchtime because I remember I was hanging out with my friends and then I kind of separated myself.
Yeah.
Ay, what the heck was that?
Hiccup.
No,
Hiccup burp.
I'm breathing.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of weird, but I kind of separated myself and I went over. I don't know, we linked up somehow and then you went with me, and I remember there was this guy who made a comment about it, like this guy that I was friends with. He was like, oh, so like he walks you to class now, like we weren't dating yet, but
yeah, but I was trying to.
Yeah, I know.
So that's pretty much how we were, like, just talking and dating, not dating but talking. So it started like as a friendship, and then I think slowly, gradually, we both knew that it was,
There was something there.
yeah, there was something there. So, with Gaspar, the guy from the Voice Party, with his questions like did you know, and technically we both knew because we were gradually both getting there, So once I asked,
we were both kind of waiting and anticipating like each other's texts. Like you were waiting on me like to text you back, and then I was waiting for you to text me, and it's just like we were waiting to have that communication with each other.
Yeah. And when I asked the eye is when we took the trip to Reno, right? So we went as friends, but we both kind of knew. I mean, I didn't speak to you about it before, but we kind of talked about, like, going out and hanging out. And I don't know if you felt like I was gonna ask you, but I knew I was. That was like the.
I mean, I don't think I would have been interested in going to another, state with a guy that I wasn't interested
in. Exactly. So that's kind of where we were like, we were already in it. We just kind of had to make it official, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, with me as, the one that obviously I had to ask, it was like how am I going to ask it and where am I going to ask it? So I was like, oh, we're going to take a trip. That's the perfect time, right? So we were kind of already, in it. We just had to make it official. So kind of came natural. It was like, well, yeah, of course I'm gonna say yes because we both want it. Of course I'm gonna say yes. And like that's for the reason I came. Kind of like that. There's a lot of things that kind of mixed in with it, but it was just more like, okay, now we can say we're boyfriend girlfriend. Although before we kind of technically were, but it wasn't official. I just felt like that's how it was with us.
Yeah.
So it was like,
I think everybody kind of like saw it, maybe.
Yeah.
Like friends and stuff. They kind of like knew something was gonna happen.
Yeah. And kind of even before then, before the trip and before I asked you out with the snowball, I think that was,
Oh yeah, I put that in my notes. I don't know where.
Yeah, but I remember, I recall specifically snowball as, to me, it was like a tipping point where I kind of knew.
A tipping point.
Yeah, it was like a point.
It was like a hint.
Yeah, like a hint. Perfect word is a hint. It was a hint.
You're
that.
Welcome.
Yeah, I didn't say thank you, but okay. It was like a hint that this could be something more than just a friendship, right? Because I do recall,
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
To keep going though.
Yeah. So I do recall that I wanted to ask you out and I wanted to like say, hey,
This was on December 7th of 2007.
Yeah, because it was, winter, technically. Snowball is winter.
Yeah. No, but I remember it was on December 7th because it was on my sister's birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then the next day was your birthday.
Yeah.
And there was something funny about your birthday too.
Yeah, there was.
Okay,
was
but
it?
keep going.
Was it? Okay, yeah. So,
I'm gonna write it down.
Days prior, I had asked you if you were gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
And you said no, you weren't going because I believe you did not.
I didn't have money to buy my ticket. It was $25.
And then you didn't have a dress. You technically were ready, and I think your mom wasn't, very open to it as well.
I can't remember that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because once I bought the ticket, then your mom was kind of like forced to, like, oh, okay, well, if they already bought. Because I remember the conversation and I do remember this, the conversation you had with your mom with what you told me was, oh, he already bought me the ticket. You know, I don't want to say no, so can I go? And yeah, obviously she said, okay, fine, go. But I kind of like, you know, I kind of asked you like, oh, are you gonna go? Like, not necessarily asking you want to go with me. I just kind of want to see if, like, first of all, you had plans to go, and if you did have plans, were you gonna go with somebody else? And since you said no, it's kind of like, oh, well, I can help you out with that, you know. So yeah.
What I wanted to say about that is that, yeah, you paid for my ticket.
Yeah.
And I remember that I don't know if I told you I'll pay you back, or by the time that the dance came along, like, my mom must have gave me money or whatever. I had the money. So then I paid you back.
Yeah.
And I was so pissed that you actually took my money.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? Like, I thought like that was just kind of like a gesture, kind of like, oh, here's for the ticket. And I was kind of expecting you to be like, oh, no, it's okay. It's on me. Like, I don't know. I just thought that, you know, you just wanted my presents.
Yeah. I remember, we talked about that later. Like, you know, I told you, like, no, I would never take the money.
But you took the money.
Yeah, well, obviously I did because, you know, you were pissed about it. But I mean, like, I kind of told you, like, you know, there must have been a reason why I took it, or maybe unconsciously I took it.
I wasn't pissed about it. I was just kind of like, oh, I guess it was. I'm not that important to him.
Dramatica.
Always.
But yeah, so yeah, we ended up going. I did take the money, apparently. I guess.
You
know.
did take the money.
Whatever. I guess I did. I don't know. It's up in the air. But let's just say we did for the purpose of this podcast.
Hell no.
So, you know, we actually, so the whole thing with Snowball was you weren't going, and then literally at the last minute we ended up just like
I borrowed a dress from Alma. She had went to Forever 21 and she had this dress that she hadn't wore. I think it still had the tag on it.
Yeah.
And I tried it on and I was like, okay, I'll take it. Like, I would.
So it was setting.
It was a borrowed dress.
Yeah. In a way, that's, like I said, it was a hint that, you know, like, okay, maybe this is something that we can both, you know, agree on. Like, maybe it's dating potential, right? And
I remember I even got mad at you at the dance.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going, you know. Okay. And part of that, like, you know, I wasn't too sure, like, okay, are we going as a date or are we going as friends, right? So me, again, of course, overthinking it, like, I was trying to give you your space, trying to give you your time so you can, like, you know, not be smothered by me. So, you know, we had a few dances, you know, a couple of my friends. The thing with Snowball, I recall, it was myself, it was Pedro Camarena, Servando, I believe it was Juanga and Abraham, you know, rest in peace, Abraham. And we all went with matching shirts because we all went to Sears. We all went to Sears.
Oh yeah,
yes. We got like a burgundy and a tie
that was like had flashing lights on it.
So we all went matching. You know, so it's like, oh yeah, let's go. You know, let's go matching. And this was planned before we decided that we're gonna go as a couple. So, you know. So, like, you know, we did that, and, you know, we go into Snowball, like, I'm going with you, and then we have, like, my crew or posse with the same shirts and the same ties, you know. So, you know, we had a couple dances, like, as a group, you and your friends, and then some of my friends. And then you said, hey, you know, I'm going to the bathroom, I'll be back. And, you know, I waited, and I was like, you know, let me go to the restroom as well. Let me kind of walk around a little bit and give her some time. And I wanted to go back and talk to you, but you were like, you know, I saw you from a distance. You were like, you know, laughing with your friends. Like, okay, let me give her a little moment and then I'll come back. And then I was like maybe 15.
You gave me a big moment.
Yeah, it was like 15, maybe 20 minutes. And you were like, you know, he came and looked for me. Like, hey, you know, oh, hey, you know, like you're back, you know. And you were pissed because I left you.
I was being a brat.
Yeah, I left you by yourself.
Yeah.
But
I just thought we were there together, and then you just gave me too much space, and I was like, oh, maybe he's not really interested. Maybe I'm just reading this wrong.
But plot twist.
What?
You getting mad told me what I kind of needed to know, because I was like, oh, she's mad that I left her by herself, so she wanted she wants this relationship. So yeah, and after that, you know, like, okay,
I'm getting butterflies just thinking about it.
Me too. So yeah, so after that, I was like, I really had to get creative on like how I was gonna cool you down, and it just kind of happened naturally.
We were by the water. You could have just thrown some water at me. Like,
Well, I didn't have to. I mean, I could have, just thrown you over, like, hey, let me save you, Captain Save a Ho type thing. But I didn't have to. But I didn't have to, So, I was like, oh, you want to dance? You're like, no. I'm like, damn, okay. And like, oh, okay, well, what do you want to do? Like, I don't know. Like, you're just like, you were kind of like short and kind of like, I can tell you were mad. So,
you're like,
yes, I knew it. So, after a while, you kind of okay, let's go dance. You just told me like, okay, let's go dance, and we started dancing a little bit. Towards the end, everybody was leaving, like like hey, a couple of friends are going in and out. You want to go? And you're like, yeah, let's go. And like, okay, it took me that much to try to get you unmad, but yeah. So we ended up going in and out, and we had a couple of friends over, or we all met together. And
wait, did we go to In-N-Out or Denny's?
No, we went to In and Out.
Okay,
I recall.
I remember passing by the Denny's in San Pablo. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, because I remember I did see a friend.
I think we were gonna go to Denny's.
Yes,
And
but
then
at the
we ended
last
up going
minute,
In-N-Out.
everybody ended up going to In and Out, so
Okay.
we shifted over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of like going around. I'm kind of like thinking about so many things, but this is how last minute it was. That we're gonna go, because initially I was gonna go with friends. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a ride. The last minute, like, oh, so I actually have a date, or technically, quote unquote date. Like, I didn't have a car, I didn't have a way how we're gonna get there, how I'm gonna pick you up. Last minute, I'm calling like my mom and uncles, and my tia ended up letting me borrow her car, and that was like a big responsibility. Like, hey, here's my car. I was always very responsible.
Take care of it.
Yeah, so I was always very responsible. So I know that wasn't an issue.
Reckless.
Yeah. So, sorry. Last minute, I'm literally running around trying to get the car, and trying not to be late to pick you up. But luckily, my tia was super cool about it, and she let me borrow her car. But yeah, so we ended up going there, and we just had a few laughs here and there, and yeah, that's pretty much how I ended. After that, I took you home. But yeah, it was nice. It was kind of like sudden. It was super random. What I do remember when I picked you up, because I was like, first of all, like, this technically is kind of like a date, so I'm not gonna just call you like, hey, I'm outside.
You went to pick me up.
Yeah, I went and I
upstairs.
knocked on your door, and your mom looked at me and she thought I was Asian. And then I spoke Spanish, and she was like, oh, you talk Spanish.
Asian that speaks Spanish.
Like, you talk Spanish, like, yeah. It's like Mexicano. But yeah, so that's kind of pretty much a recap on like the whole thing, how it happened.
Yeah.
So what was it that you were trying to say that it was funny?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna talk about your birthday the next day, because like the snowball happened on December 7th,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next day was your birthday,
Yeah.
December 8th. So I just remember just talking about us texting and stuff. I just remember how, we were texting for your birthday and stuff, and then you were like, I asked you, so what are you doing for your birthday?
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, oh, I'm just going out to dinner with my family. They brought me to this really fancy restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, shit, they brought you to a fancy restaurant. Where is it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, cool. What restaurant did you go to? Like, probably don't even know. That's probably how fancy it is. Like, I've never heard of it.
5-star restaurant.
I think he said something like
Yeah.
that. And you're like, oh, we're at McDonald's.
Yeah.
No, I just laughed. It's just so silly, but
Yeah.
I just laughed so hard. Like, it was...
Yeah.
It was so funny to me that it's just like your humor it was
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, and during those times that we were also talking, humor did play a big part in our relationship and our friendship. I do recall when we were dating, we were going out already. I remember we were texting back and forth, and I believe one day you were sick. You were at home, you were sick. And I was texting you, of course. Obviously, I was texting you, and I was like, what are you doing? And you were like, oh, watching TV. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. What are you watching?
Yeah.
And you're like, watching
I was
TV.
sick that day.
Yeah, you were. So you're like, watching TV. I was like, I know, but what are you watching in TV? Or what are you watching on TV? And you're like, oh, nothing. The screen is completely off, or like the TV is off. I'm just literally
a black screen.
Black screen.
I'm
and
watching the TV.
yeah, it was like such a random text and such a random like response. It was very humorous to me, and I always remember I was in science
Like
class.
probably anybody listening, they're probably like, "That's a stupid ass joke."
It was.
It was funny.
It was funny. Yeah, it was super funny. It was like very unexpected. I think those are the jokes that get to me the most, where it's random and it's like very sarcastic, and it gets to me. I remember that day I was in science class, and I had to leave because I was just cracking up. And the teacher's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I literally walked out. I was cracking up. It was just I was crying.
Yeah,
almost.
you told me that, and I was just like, I couldn't imagine. I was like, it was really that funny. Like I thought it was kind of stupid, but hey, I'm pretty hilarious.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the part of the humor that helped us
I think
with.
it's just because you liked me.
Of course.
It's just like everything I said was like, oh my gosh, she's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
but yeah,
Feels kind of weird.
I know. I
What
kind of
is
had to
this?
flip it over.
I don't like it. Anyway, yeah. So, another part that I wanted to talk about was I think Beefster talked about a picture.
Oh yeah.
He talked about how we took a picture. I think he what? Where? I think they all know. He's going to the bathroom. He talked about well, I need you here to have the conversation about it. I know, but nobody can hear you. Okay, just a pause for a sec. I think they can hear you peeing. Oh my goodness. What are you doing, Mario? Why are you taking off your clothes?
All right, guys. Sorry, I'm back.
Okay. Are you ready? Or should I wait for
keep
you
on.
to?
Go.
You are not ready. Oh my god.
I'm ready.
No, you're not.
Okay.
You
let's
need
go.
some help.
Nah, we're good. Sorry. So yeah, so we're saying.
Okay, so yeah. Beefster was talking about a picture
Yeah.
that we went matching, and we I guess he said they look so good or something like that.
Yeah.
It was for our prom.
Yeah.
But by then we were together already.
Yeah, I took you to Oakland and get your dress in Fruitville by the BART station.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I remember this place was literally right off the BART station. Because when I was younger, I used to go get there, for the quinceañeras. If I
I
was
think
like,
I still have it somewhere.
I think you do actually. Yeah, I think you do. And me, I want to get fitted for a suit. So we went in royal blue or navy.
It was royal blue,
royal
and
blue.
you went with a white tuxedo with royal blue
Vest, tie, and
yeah,
and grills.
and your gold grill.
Yeah. So yeah, we ended up going matching, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. And then what else? I wanted to talk about homecoming game.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when.
Beefster was there.
He was. He
there
was
that
actually
day.
there. I do recall we went separate. But we were talking already, but we did go separate, and we kind of just met there. So we were kind of hanging.
So I actually went with two friends. Yeah. I went with Marisol and with Victor. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Pussy Magnet.
Yeah, they call him. Yeah, because he had this truck, right?
Yeah.
He had this cool truck. So I went with both of them. Either I went by myself and I was leaving with them, something like that. Somehow I was with them.
Yeah, I think he went with her, and then he was just giving you guys a ride.
Yeah, so it's funny because during the game, I don't think we hung out.
Oh, you're right. We did it. We did.
We didn't hang out during the game, but then we were texting. Right?
Yep.
Are you paying attention to me right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were texting, and then I remember me and them, we were leaving. I think he was gonna give us a ride home,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember his truck was like a 3-seater, and it was him driving. It was me in the middle, and then it was Marisol
On the right side.
on the far side. Yeah. And I remember, I was texting you, and then I remember you said something about, I don't know if you asked me if I wanted a ride
Yeah.
or something, and then asked what?
Yeah. No, keep on.
You asked me if I wanted a ride.
Yeah, like I asked you, like, do you need a ride?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I didn't need a ride, but I remember like we were literally on the road already, and I was like, "Stop, stop the car." He was like, "What?" I was like, "Just stop." Like, I feel like it was, maybe I'm exaggerating it. Maybe it wasn't as dramatic as I remember it. But I remember he was kind of like spooked, like, what? I'm just giving you guys a ride. Like, I think he got a little spooked, and he was like, I'm not going to do anything. Like, I'm just giving you a ride. And I was like, no, I need to get out. I remember saying, I need to get off. He was like, but I'll take you. I was like, no, I need to get off right now. And then, yeah, sure. They let me off. I think he took her home. And I got off, and then I went right back to the field like I never left.
Yeah. Yeah, because I didn't find out about that. You're already going home to like way later, you're already like dating and all. And that was kind of random, the conversation. But, I told you like, hey, so we're going to just drop off my, my friend at home, and, I can drop you off at that. And,
I remember on the way to drop him off at home, we stopped by Starbucks because I wanted Starbucks.
Yeah.
And you took me to Starbucks. And I remember you guys were off to the side just like having a side conversation. I don't really know what you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
What were you guys talking about?
I don't recall. I mean, that was a long time ago. But I do remember, like, sorry, JD, if you're hearing this, but I took him first so we can hang out, afterwards. So, because you literally live 2 blocks from the school.
Yeah.
But we ended up going to Starbucks, and then I dropped him off, and then we came back. And, just so we can have a little time, spend some time.
I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I just wanted to hang out with you. And then, like, I knew we were going to go take him home. So I was just like, okay, well, that gives us more time together. And then, we dropped him off at home, said our goodbyes, and then we had the ride back by ourselves.
Yeah.
We were able to, like, spend some time together.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are real nice moments that I do recall as well. Yeah. And kind of going back, and we talked about it before, like, you went out of your way to, like, get a ride
I
from
scared
me.
somebody.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, it feels nice, knowing that the progression of our friendship into, like,
it was a mutual thing.
Yeah, it was mutual, and it feels good. It's comforting, that we were both thinking alike, and we both wanted the same thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, our friendship, it was like, I wrote this down too. So, like, it was a period of about 3-ish months.
Yeah. So
we started talking to each other around September, and then you asked me to be your girlfriend on December 30th.
Yeah.
So it was like a 3-month period. There was this particular thing that happened that that's where you really gained my trust.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that deserves like a whole ass conversation. We're already like 45 minutes into it, and
we can't leave it hanging in the loop. But I mean, we can bring it up later and go more into details. But for sure.
No, I guess it's a good moment to bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it's gonna be a little long, but if you whoever is listening and you're still with us, thank you very much. Appreciate you. You're a real one. So this is where you really gain my trust. So I was hanging out every weekend.
Yeah.
I was going out with friends, and I was drinking, and I don't think this is like, people would say like bad influences or whatever, but I don't think so. I don't take it like that because I had a choice.
Yeah.
And I chose to do the things that I did.
Yeah.
So I can't put it on anyone. I can't. I have to take responsibility for the things that I did.
Yeah.
Hold on, this is bothering me.
I can tell.
Okay. Sorry. So I remember this one night. I was out with friends, and I don't know how we got to where we got to. It was like we probably walked there. We got a ride there. I don't know how we got there.
Yeah.
So this was really meaningful to me because, God, I can't get my thoughts like in line. Like I need to straighten it out in my head.
So you were at a kickback.
I wasn't at a kickback yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I started off at whatever. We got a ride to some random house, and it was like 4 of us, I think. And like I said, it's just like I made choices, and I don't think I had been drinking that night, but I think we did smoke that night.
Yeah.
So then after we smoked,
Smoke tobacco.
yeah, tobacco.
That's the worst
All
thing.
tobacco.
That's the worst thing you can smoke.
I know.
That's horrible for your
Yeah,
lungs.
it was very bad for me, but no, it was not tobacco.
Mary Jane.
Yeah.
The devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
420.
Yes, Mario. Okay,
Yeah.
so I had been smoking with my friends, and then I remember we walked across the street somewhere, like we crossed what's the street?
It was 21st and
No, don't say the address.
well, I'm not gonna say the address, but it was 21st and
We crossed, what's the main street? 23rd?
No. Where I picked you up?
No, the main street.
Oh, 23rd Street.
Okay, that's where I want to leave it at.
Oh, okay. You were
We
near
crossed 23rd Street over towards like Roosevelt and that area.
Thought you didn't want to say the address.
Well, I'm not saying the address. You're over here. It was 21st Street in the middle section of it was the White House or whatever.
I was gonna go to that detail. I was gonna be like, it was near Roseville and Burbank around 21st. That's what I was gonna say.
There you go. You said it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Uh,
So I remember crossing the main street, and then I don't know. I really don't know who knew these people, like the people that were having a kickback. So we ended up at like a house party, a kickback. And I remember I didn't know anybody there.
mhm.
It was just like my friend that I was hanging out with. She knew like the people at the house. So I'm literally just like outside in the yard. Like her and her other friends are like over there having the time of their life. Like they're partying it up. And I'm sitting there on a lawn chair with this guy next to me, and he's talking to me about shrooms.
Yeah.
So like he's telling me what he has experienced on shrooms. Like, I never tried anything else. Like I was too chicken to try anything.
Mhm.
But he was just like telling me, and I was just like, can this dude get away from me? Like, what the fuck is he talking about? First of all, I don't want to do that, but whatever. So I remember I was texting with you.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, I think maybe you may have, I probably told you the situation, what was happening, and like whatever. The funny thing is that I didn't even know the address. I didn't know what color of the house. I didn't know what street I was on. I just knew where I was close by, what I was nearby. You probably were stalking me or something.
No. That's the area that you were in.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up my whole life around that area. I lived 2 blocks away from the place. So when you told me, oh, it's near this, near that, like, oh, I know where that's at. Like, you know what? I'll call you when I'm nearby. And I'm
You
pretty
must have asked me, like, do you need me to pick you up or something?
The thing is, I remember, you don't remember, but I do. I'm going to say 100%, factual, But I do remember you were just kind of like playing it like, oh yeah, I'm just, chilling, I'm at a kickback, blah blah blah, like, and you did gradually tell me, like, you were thinking of leaving, it was getting kind of like boring because you didn't know people, kind of like we're saying now. And I was like, oh, okay, like, do you need a ride, or are you gonna get gonna get dropped off? That's kind of how I asked, like, you want me to pick you up. But I do remember
I just really wanted you to pick me up.
Of course. Yeah. But I do remember you kind of play it off as in like you just wanted to leave because it was boring, and I kind of offered. But when you were describing the area, like, I know where it's at. Like, I used to play around that area when I was a kid. I knew the area like perfectly fine. So when you told me, I already knew exactly what house it was without you even telling me the address. I knew which one it was. Had a feeling it was, if not the house, it was going to be the one next to it. But I had a feeling it was going to be one of those two houses.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I like, okay, I know where it's gonna be at. I'll call you when I'm nearby, and then I'm pretty sure that it is that one, and it was that one.
Yeah. So I come out and I remember, I think you told me that day that you had to find a car.
Yeah. You
didn't have a car. You had to borrow a car, and again, you borrowed your tia's car.
No, actually, it was a friend of the family. He was visiting, and it was just, I got lucky the fact that he was there, and he offered to let me borrow his car.
What did you tell them?
I was just saying that you needed a ride, and I was thinking,
they know who I was?
No, my mom didn't know who you were yet.
You hadn't talked to her about me?
No, I mean, she knew that I was talking to you, but she didn't know who you were, or whose daughter you were, because mutual friends, and they knew your mom, but they didn't know that much. They just knew that you were.
So I didn't mean that much to you then.
Well, even then, we were just talking. It wasn't serious, but she didn't know, of course, to let me borrow the car because I was gonna go pick up a girl. So she knew that much, right? So it was that all she knew. And like that day, luckily he was there. But I was gonna call a friend, which is Nathan's old boyfriend, to see where he was at, so maybe I can borrow the car. But he was there, and he had just gotten there, so he kind of offered, like, hey, you can borrow the car. Like, for real? I'm like, yeah, okay, and I took it. So luckily for me, I could have like been like, hey, wait for me an hour, and I'll be there. I just gotta wait for a car, while
it was like super quick.
Yeah,
pick me up right away.
Yeah. So I got the car in, and I wanted to pick you up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I remember. Was this the same night? Where you gave me a burnt CD that you made for me?
No, this is different.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's crazy because I associate those nights together.
It was a different night. Yeah, it was a different night.
Was this, okay, was this, I have such a bad memory, but was this the same night where I had a curfew and you picked me up around 9ish, and then we drove around for like 2 hours until my curfew was up?
Yes, it was that day.
Then that's the night you gave me my burnt CD. You made me a CD.
I made you more than one CD, so it probably would have been one.
I remember one.
Okay, then it probably was that day.
It had to be that day.
Yeah. And it was that day. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm positive now.
Yeah. So what happened that night is you picked me up, like I said, around 9ish, and I had a curfew to be home at 11 p.m. And no matter what I've been doing that night, I would always make my curfew.
Yeah.
So we drove around for like 2 hours. I remember you took me to McDonald's, bought me some chicken nuggets. No?
Nope.
Big Mac?
2 cheeseburger meal.
Oh.
Yep. I remember.
I ate cheeseburgers?
You used to eat a lot of like the cheeseburger meal. And I always thought to myself, like, out of all the things in the menu, you go for cheeseburgers? Like, for real? Like 2 cheeseburger meal? Like, there's a Big Mac, that's delicious. And you have quarter pounders. No, you go for cheeseburgers. Like, what kind of sick person goes for 2 cheeseburgers?
Well, anyway.
But I remember it's 2 cheeseburger meal.
Okay.
With a large fry.
Okay. Well, I thought I ate nuggets that day.
No, you didn't.
Okay. Well, you took me to McDonald's. You bought me some McDonald's. And then we just drove around for 2 hours,
We were just talking.
just talking.
Yeah. So I remember.
Do you remember what we talked about? I don't. I don't remember.
It was a lot of. I don't recall exactly what it was.
Was it super random?
It was random
stuff?
things on the
Okay,
spot. We were listening
yeah.
to the CD. That's how I know it was the CD that I had made you. And then you were also,
Yeah.
a little bit, high.
Under the influence.
Yeah, you were a little high, and you were also kind of paranoid. Like, you're kind of like consistently smelling your hair.
Yeah,
And like, does it smell? Like, no, you're good, because you were worried you're gonna go home and, your mom could have smelled you and you were like panicking.
I don't think I did that often. I think that was like a one-off thing.
Yeah.
That's why I was like so paranoid, and it's just like I didn't know how to act.
Yeah.
Because I mean I did drink
Yeah.
with friends, but I was never a big smoker.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't remember exact conversations, but I do remember certain things that you did. And
talking about that day.
Yeah.
So I recently had a conversation with your mom,
Mm-hmm.
and I told her about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her that, that I had been smoking and stuff. I felt so bad because you should have seen the disappointed look on her face.
Yeah.
Like, she was so disappointed in me.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm like, she probably thought to herself, if I would have known that he was going to go pick you up, I wouldn't have let him pick you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, kind of now that you bring that up, it kind of goes on to a different conversation where, me as the person who I am, we always had a lot of support from a lot of people, on encouraging our relationship, like we always had full support from my mom, like, oh, you guys are gonna do it, you're making it work. We always had the support, and that was always our number one fan.
Mm-hmm.
She always believed in our relationship. She always believed that we had something more than just, a girlfriend, boyfriend type thing. She had a lot of trust in us. Another person that also believed in us a lot was my aunt. Mi tia Flor was very, very supportive, encouraging.
I remember she used to look at us and she used to say how, we were so cute.
Yeah.
And I remember you used to do this thing, and you didn't care who was around. This was like before kids and stuff. You used to, when I would get in the car, you would always open the door for me, and you would put my seatbelt on.
Yeah, yeah.
And your tia got to see that.
Yeah.
Probably once. And she just thought it was the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, she yelled it from her foot, from her from doorsteps.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, so cute. And I remember my cousin Ilse was there, and
we had gone to visit her.
Yeah, we went to Oakland, all the way to Oakland. And then, yeah, they were just, it was funny, and, but she's always very supportive of, our relationship. And we had other people as well, but those two really like stand out, and unfortunately it doesn't go,
see, that's the thing. That's the thing with, I know where you're going with that because we talked about that earlier.
It doesn't go both ways. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So, where is this? So, God, that's like a whole nother hour or something.
Let's close it off on that then.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, let's go.
Let's go into it and then
close it off. Yeah.
All right. So, one of the things that came to my mind was, we had I feel like we had a lot of support on your end.
Yeah.
I feel like family and friends like really like believed in us. Mm-hmm. But it was the complete opposite on my side.
Yeah.
I feel like we had a lot of people doubting our relationship.
Negativity.
Yeah, people doubting our relationship. I mean, it goes down to my mother, who was never supportive of our relationship. My uncle, who always had a lot of negative things to say about our relationship. So I remember coworkers that I used to work with, and this isn't like anything that like they said something super negative, but it just like brought like those memories of like they weren't like they didn't think this was for the long,
The long run.
yeah, the long haul or whatever. Like I feel like people underestimated our relationship, and mostly on my side.
Yeah.
So I remember this one time. So I worked with these coworkers that they were really into astrology, like the horoscopes and stuff. And I remember one time my coworker asked me, I don't know if it was out of curiosity or maybe something that was said. Like I remember bits and pieces. I don't know why it came, why the question.
Yeah.
So I remember he asked me if you were usually the type of guy that I'd go for.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember me saying like, no, I don't think so. I mean, the type of guy that I had gone for before is just like the type of guy that showed little to no interest in me.
Yeah.
It's just like I always felt like I had to put in the work for it.
Kind of like that mentality. Oh, I can change him, so it's a challenge type thing.
I don't think I was thinking of it like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, I guess it was like, the type of guy that I would go for. It's just wasn't someone that was willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
The same equal amount of work, right? So I remember being told, and this was a funny comment. Now that I think about it, it was like, "Oh well, you better watch out. Being a Pisces, because I'm a Pisces, you could get bored easily.
Yeah.
Or you could change your mind about him easily. So be careful with that relationship."
Yeah.
And I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought about it.
Yeah.
It's just, it felt kind of, at the time and like thinking about it, it felt kind of like a negative comment.
Yeah.
It's just like, who cares what my sign is? I mean, I'm with him. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's my problem. I mean, not that it matters, but my problem with astrology and signs, like I don't like them. I know you like them to a certain extent, and sometimes it brings truth to like your sign. Like, hey, Pisces are like this, and like that. Like, hey, that is exactly me. And with me, I'm like, what does mine say? Because I don't care. It's like that. I don't care what it says because, they make it more into a general. And I believe like there's like 300 Pisces, like, maybe in a city, right? 300 Sagittarius. And we can all be different. I can be completely different from a different Sagittarius. So I just feel like, Sagittarius, being a Sagittarius doesn't necessarily categorize you as the same person.
I think now, I mean, I'm not super invested in it, but I do kind of like, I mean, I have that Pisces book right across from you. I have a Sagittarius book up there, and like, I just try to like read it and like try to understand it. But based on what I've looked up or like seen and stuff, it's like it has to do a lot with like something about your sun sign and your moon sign and like what time you were born, and all that kind of stuff plays a factor, and maybe that kind of is what kind of determines the differences in people.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert. I'm not familiar with that. Like, I'd like to be. I mean, I find it interesting. I do. But I also don't think that because I'm a Pisces and you're not the type of guy that I usually go for, I'm going to end up like leaving you or, like we're not going to work out. Like, I don't think that my zodiac sign has anything to do with my relationship with you. Yeah.
And, kind of thinking about it, like, I think, we've seen posts, or little things here and there where it says your ideal,
your compatible
sign, right?
Yeah.
And I've never seen Sagittarius and Pisces as a couple that are almost.
Well, I have in my book right there. Yeah. It has things, and I remember showing it to you, and I remember being like, "Oh my God, this is us."
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So I've never seen like, oh, we're meant to be compatible, and like we're pretty damn compatible. And I don't
complement each other.
Yeah, we do, and I don't need a sign to tell me that we aren't when I know we are, and that's always been my issue with like horoscopes and all that. And I was like, like they're just bullshit. I don't believe in them. They generalize
I've
it.
heard my sister say something about, oh,
Oh, well,
I
me.
can't quote her, but she said something about she could never be with a Sagittarius man because the Sagittarius men are like such and such, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, because
I don't get it.
me and her are literally Sagittarius,
Yeah, you're both
and
Sagittarius.
we're
But I
completely
guess
different.
there's like a difference between a Sagittarius man and a Sagittarius woman.
Yeah, I don't say that. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe we should look into your sun sign and your moon sign and like, Roman numerals. And I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm good. Nah, I'd rather study aliens and UFOs and
Well, maybe the aliens made you
galaxy.
do it.
Probably, maybe.
You're a puppet.
That's something I would like to read. Am I a puppet? Have I been probed before and not even know it?
I should look.
The world may never know. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, so that's kind of pretty much what it is. Like I know with like kind of talked about your side, we always had that negativity. When I first met your uncle, the guy was drunk
And he pushed you.
and he pushed me, and then from like the first, I didn't even
That
get
was
to
like
see.
that day that you spent Christmas with us. So
Yeah, and it's like I
we
didn't
weren't
even
even like together.
No,
yet.
we were just talking, and I remember I didn't even get a word, and he was already judging me, without saying anything. Like, I remember the first word he said to me is like, "Are you Guatemalan?" I'm like,
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, I'm like-
what if you were? So what?
"Yeah," I'm like, "That's a odd question," and no, I'm Mexican, but I knew right there and then, just him asking a question like that wasn't like, "Hey, how are you doing? What's your name?" That was not the question. The question was like, "Are you Guatemalan?" Because he was already judging me. And I knew right there and then like how your uncle was and what kind of person he was. So I was kind of iffy, and then of course things just kind of went spiral after that. He was drunk, he pushed me, and it kind of became a bigger
What
thing.
did you do?
Honestly, I didn't do anything. He was just very drunk, and he
Didn't I
got
push him?
after
I got in the
after
middle and I pushed him.
after he pushed me, yeah. And I was like, no, just chill.
Because it wasn't the first time that he like got like physical. Like my mom tells me, I don't want to get into like a conversation about him or anything, but my mom tells me that when I was like a little girl, like that, like I was the only niece, the only grandchild. I'm the oldest on their side of the family.
Yeah.
And like everybody was like, had me up here, and like I was like everybody's everything, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And she tells me how, he used to take care of me. He used to, like show me off, and like I was just everything. But then fast forward into me becoming an adult, I just feel like there was a lack of respect.
Yeah, he had no respect for you.
Like there was a lack of respect, and I wasn't going to tolerate that.
Yeah, I think even your mom has that old school mentality where I'm the adult. I don't need to give you any respect because you're a minor. You're not.
You're under me.
Yeah, you're under me, so I don't need to show you. And that didn't really sit well with you. But
No,
that's that was kind of like my first interaction with your family, with your uncle, and then of course your mom. We have had our hiccups here and there, but I also wasn't very welcomed by your mom. And I understand because you as her daughter, you want the best, right? So it's kind of like talking about when we talked about the podcast, like you want a finished product, right? Not you, but people want a finished product. Like hey, like my name is blah blah blah. What do you do for a living? Like what is your occupation? Like that seems to be like a question that is always asked. I'm like, why does that have to do anything with me trying to talk to you and date you, right? So it's like, as a mother.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that happens later on in adulthood. Like if we were out there in the dating world, it'd be important to know, who you're going to be dating and what kind of life do you, are you going to like have with each other.
No, I agree, and I think that should. I mean, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying it should be, but that's my opinion. I think that question should have been asked. It should be learned, by like, hey, casually, gradually. Now I'd be like, so what do you do for a living?
We'll see. Yeah.
You know,
I
think,
understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I also think of it in a way of like, okay, if you're, trying to start a family with someone, it's like you, and it's later on, like I mean, we were lucky enough to meet each other, to start dating when we were 17. It's like we have friends who are still single.
Yeah.
It's just if they want to, like build a life with someone, they kind of have to know who they're building a life with and what that person
Yeah.
is, you know?
And my idea, like I said, this is my true honest opinion. Like, say me and you are just dating, right? And we're talking. I don't think occupation should be something we speak about it. You know, it should be more like, I'm gonna give you a scenario like, hey, I gotta go. I actually have to go to work. I have to start at 4 p.m. Right? So, okay, cool. Like, where do you work at? Maybe I can drop you off, or maybe I can meet you after work. I think that's probably like the ideal way of bringing it up, because I'm not interested in what kind of job you work. I'm more interested like, where do you work so I can meet you? I just think that's probably the perfect way of doing it, where it doesn't seem like it's just about the occupation, right? But that's just my point of view. But with kind of like what I was saying with your mom, it was like she wanted you, and this is the way that typical, old school mentality Mexican moms or even Latina moms have. Like, I want my daughter to be with a tall, light skinned, green eyed man that is going to go to school and be a doctor or a lawyer and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And I didn't meet any of those criteria. So obviously she did not, seem to
She
want
didn't
to.
approve.
Yeah. I didn't get the stamp of approval. But I know like now that we're, years into our relationship, we're married, we have kids, that has changed, and I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just like, it was kind of like a struggle at first.
I mean, we'll get into that in
definitely.
a different
because it's something
conversation, but I think that there's still work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And there are some things that have happened, and you've seen a lot and you've heard a lot already, where I think that I don't know, it's just a little unrepairable at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
just I don't. If I ever hoped that, like, you would have a decent relationship with my mom, I think at this point all hope is lost. I mean, and I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't hold that against you, because you've had to put up with a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, what really matters is that we're happy, and that we're enjoying our life, living the best way we can.
Yeah. We showed them.
Yeah, exactly. For those that didn't believe, we did. But that was never the objective, of course.
No,
we always focus on me and you, you and me. And, unconsciously and unknowingly, we showed them, and I think that's beautiful.
That's just the cherry on top.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect.
Yeah.
You got the words out of my mouth. That's just like the cherry on top,
Yeah.
And, yeah. But yeah, with that note in, I think we're going to end it up, stop the record button. It's been about an hour and 15. And yeah, I mean, we do have a lot more to talk about,
yeah, I'm gonna continue dissecting it.
Yeah, with the episode, because I know you will.
And there's just some things that I still want to talk about. I mean, just on like the first 3 topics or whatever that I had on here, we've already gone over an hour, so there's a lot more to say. But
yeah, and there was a lot of things that we kind of didn't want to touch, because it's another subject that'll take another 35 to 45 minute conversations, and if you're listening, and we're sorry, but we will get to it eventually.
I mean, if you've been with us, I mean, by the time that this drops, we've already recorded like 8 other conversations. So by the time that this drops, and if you're still here with us, or if you've just recently joined us, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for being interested in our boring little lives. But it's
coming for sure.
There's more conversations.
So if we touched a subject, they're like, oh, I actually want to hear that, then keep listening, and we will for sure.
I mean, I also want to get to a point where it's just like I want to get some feedback, maybe,
Yeah,
or
definitely.
like some like what is it that what opinion of ours do you kind of want to hear?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're more interested? Like, do we say something that you are interested in, like hearing, or
Elaborate or give more
yeah,
detail.
or just like it's not in this conversation, but I know they're coming. It's probably gonna be like a little more touching and more emotional.
Yeah.
I'm just shaking just thinking about it, because that's what happens to me. Like when I think about like things that are a little traumatizing for me, it's just my body starts kind of trembling. You can't see it, but I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can hear it in my voice. I don't know. I just hope all I want to do is if there's someone out there that comes across one of our conversations and can identify with something that we've talked about, and are have struggled with their mental health. I mean, I know I have.
Mm-hmm.
I just want them to know that they're not alone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know it. Use this as not this in particular, this conversation, but use these platforms to get around and like find that you're not alone. There's other people.
Yeah, and if you need to talk, we're here.
Send a message.
Yeah.
By this time we'll have Instagram fully activated, and have the
podcast.
Have it pretty much open to anybody that just kind of wants to suggest or
to connect,
vent, or get some help. We're here.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.